The holidays have been so crazy lately, and I'm sure it has been for you as well. And navigating travel and a full-time job on top of running my business and this podcast has been so much for me. But I'm so happy that you're here today. I'm so glad that you are joining me for this episode. And whether it is your first time listening, maybe you clicked on this for the title today, you are in for such a treat, and I cannot wait to unveil all the information in this series for you. And if you are tuning in again from listening last time, thank you for coming back and for choosing this podcast to be on your listening menu.
You're listening to The Holistic Ritual, a podcast for holistic health-minded humans seeking mind, body, spirit well-being. Hosted by Kamala Celeste, IIN holistic health coach and former personal trainer, with over a decade of experience helping humans become the best versions of themselves, both mentally and physically. Here, you'll discover meditations, affirmation readings, thought-provoking insights, and all things related to holistic health and healing. We blend Eastern and Western rituals, practices, and research to guide you on your wellness journey. Without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Today and over the next few weeks, we will be diving into a 3-part series designed to help you create the healthiest, happiest, and hottest you yet, but in the most holistically nourishing way. This isn't your typical new year, new you advice. There's no crash diets, no extreme workout challenges. This is about getting real and creating a blueprint that is tailored specifically to you. And that is part of today's episode too, is if you are a holistic health beginner, or if you have been following the holistic living and holistic lifestyle for a while now, this is for you to maybe be introduced to something new or to recalibrate, to go into the new year with this top of mind and on your radar of things to consider. But before we dive in, let's help get ourselves grounded and centered with a little affirmation reading, as is tradition opening on this podcast. I'm going to be using this new deck that our last guest, Morgan O'Neill, gifted to me very recently as we were hanging out. I was helping her hang some curtains. Really exciting stuff. I can be pretty handy around the house, and I have all the tools you could probably imagine. So this deck, though, is so beautiful, and I'm so honored that she would share this with me. If you have not listened to this last episode, I'm just going to do a little shuffle here on my lap because I'm kind of run out of table space here if you are watching. But if you're just listening, I am shuffling on my lap. Morgan, one of my friends here in Denver, is a spiritual therapist, and she incorporates tarot readings, oracle readings into her professional counseling for mental health. And I think it is just so beautiful what she does. So very grateful to her and for gifting me, and now you and I, this oracle deck. And the way we will be utilizing this deck today is just to find our theme for this episode, maybe this new year. And if it resonates with you, let it soak in. And if it doesn't, you can leave it. I always try to pick one word every year that I hope my year embodies. And 2024, my word was peace and ease. And for majority of the year, there was a lot of peace and ease. And lately things have been a little crazy, hectic, chaotic. all the things. I don't know if Mercury retrograde had anything to do with that, as it was a very intense one, and then followed by the new moon that we just had in Gemini, I believe. I'm recording this mid-December before Christmas, but you will likely be watching or listening to this post-Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, post-holidays, I should say. So, cutting the deck a few times, and then once more in half. The card that I have drawn is Trust Your Inkling. What is that inkling feeling trying to tell you? And what is kind of coming up here is just trust the process. Trust that this new year, this next chapter of your life is going to unfold exactly as it needs to. You are exactly in the right place, the right moment in time to go through this next chapter, this next journey. And I just want to read a little bit from the guidebook of what it says. If I can find it, they don't really have, okay, here it is. They don't really have like a set structure. They're not like in alphabetical order or anything. So you kind of just have to like flip around, but trust the inkling. What is that inkling feeling trying to tell you? The inkling feeling, that annoying, nagging feeling, that inconvenient, annoying, nagging feeling. Try as you might, it's there and it ain't going anywhere. Most people spend years ignoring their intuition, throwing their best dollops of stubbornness, ego, and post-rationalization to numb them out. It's exhausting. It's so exhausting. And until you face the music, life just throws you more bait to awaken it, to draw your attention to the light within you that is bursting to come out. The inkling is an arrow pointing to what is standing in your way. The relationship, the conversation, the decision, the shift that needs to be made. The stone in your shoe. Often we feel that nagging feeling in our body first. Many people think that intuition is something from the higher realms, but in fact, it is the body that is the intuitive one, working through our senses to deliver vibrational information. It takes just a moment every day to scan your body to receive the intuition intelligence and act on it quickly. You are being called to face that feeling now. If you don't face it, the universe will throw something much bigger and more obvious into your path. And then you will likely regret that you didn't answer the feeling in the first place. It's a scary feeling, but you are safe. Answer the inkling now. What is it trying to tell you? Yes. And on the precipice of change, we know that things need to change. And we get these downloads from source, from our spirits, from God, from the divine, the cosmos, that nudge us towards the answer that we have housed within ourselves all along. And we get scared, we psych ourselves out, we tell ourselves that, no, this can't be it. This can't be the answer. This can't be what I'm supposed to do. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to commit to this dream, to this journey. But in reality, you are ready. And you wouldn't be in this position if you weren't. Universe, source, doesn't bring you to these lessons and journeys and exciting things that are meant for you. Whether it is the job, starting the business, starting something, a hobby that you've been wanting to for the longest time, yet you just haven't. You haven't listened to that inkling. You haven't listened. But, and my little affirmation card fell on the floor. Your affirmation for today is, I am a gift. You are a gift. I am a gift to the world. When I lead with kindness and love, I create a ripple effect that benefits more people than I'll ever know. My presence, my knowledge, and my passions contribute to the greater good of the world. I am a gift. And that is so fitting for the theme that we just heard. To second guess yourself, to doubt yourself, just know that you are a gift. You have gifts that are meant to be shared with the world. It is your responsibility to share your gifts and your talents and to follow through, trusting your intuition, trusting the process. So as you move forward into this new chapter of your life, just remember these words. You are a gift. You have so many gifts sent from the divine. You are a child of the cosmos. And if that doesn't give you goosebumps and make you tingle and want to go out there and live your life to the fullest, to appreciate people who support you and love you and appreciate you, and to appreciate yourself for how far you've come and that you are ready for this next step. So now that we are grounded, hopefully the message resonated with you. And if it didn't, maybe someone else in your life needed to hear that. So feel free to share it with them. And so now getting into the main event of today, this first part of the 3-part series. Here's the deal. I know when New Year's resolutions come around, everybody is making these proclamations to themselves and to others, sometimes very personally on Instagram or on Blue Sky or Threads or whatever. And then we come back at the end of the year and look at that list and all of these resolutions. I'm going to work out 6 days a week when I only maybe work out once right now. I'm going to travel to 7 different cities. I'm going to do all these things without actually having a plan of how you're going to get there, a real metric, a measurable metric of how you're going to do that. And resolutions aren't necessarily bad, but they're not my favorite. So the other thing that I want to address is that there are going to be so many personal trainers and fitness programs and all of these advertisements and marketing that's going to be thrown in your face over the next few weeks as we are rolling into this new year. And I just want to remind you that health should be bio-individual. Healthy looks different for every single body. No two bodies, minds, spirits are exactly the same. And that's what is going to make this process, this series, this unfolding of a more holistic, hotter version of you so special and curated to you and your life specifically. Your journey to a happier, healthier, and hotter version of you should reflect who you really are, your needs, your life, your values, your own uniqueness. your own biological uniqueness. But before we get started, I want you to hit pause for a quick second and grab a notebook, grab a pen, and take some notes, because this is the information that you will not want to miss. This is going to help you not only to get healthy over the next few months, but to have all the tools, to have the toolkit, to build your own custom plan to follow through that will get you not just through this year, but it is the blueprint that you can do over and over and over again every year, every few months, every couple of years. So throughout this series, I will be sharing the 13 key areas of focus, plus some important questions you're going to want to ask yourself that are going to help you build out this plan that is tailored exactly to you. There is a little homework involved, but trust me, this is the kind of work that's going to pay off big time. In today's episode, we are going to be exploring the foundational elements of holistic health: nutrition, hydration, physical activity, but also a couple of things that likely were not on your radar when it comes to being healthy. And those two things are your relationships and your social life. And we will get into the nitty-gritty details of how those things play a role in your health and well-being. These are going to be the building blocks for everything else we're going to discuss in the series. So while today, some of this information as far as what you have correlated to being healthy might not be profound, but it's setting us up for the rest of the series, to where discussing some of the other key areas of focus are going to really transform how you think about health, how you think about your well-being. To kick things off, the first section of your notes that you're going to want to write down is nutrition and hydration. Now, I know you have heard this advice a million times everywhere. Drink more water, eat more greens, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing, what you put in your body truly does matter, and also the way that you approach food and hydration. So I want to kind of get a little myth out of the way. There is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all diet. There is no diet in the world that is going to be the best diet for every single person on this planet. There's no magical food or meal plan that is going to be the fix all. And honestly, that is a good thing. Our bodies are so unique. They're as unique as fingerprints, which means your nutritional needs completely differ from my nutritional needs, my biology, my genetic makeup, or anyone else's for that matter, really. And our nutritional needs are shaped by so many different factors: our age, our activity level, our metabolism, how we digest our food, food intolerances, cultural background, and even the climate that we live in. And also something to take note on is what works for you right now might not necessarily work for you 3 months from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, because our needs change as we move through life. And that is totally okay. The key is learning to tune into your body and adjust things as you go. And this series is going to help you do that. So this year, instead of jumping on the latest diet trend or cutting out entire food groups, being miserable, I want you to take a step back and ask yourself a couple of these questions. So write these questions down and come back to them later after this episode and do a little deep thinking, deep dive, and really sit with these questions, how they're going to be best suited for you. So here are a few simple but powerful questions to ask yourself about nutrition. And I have some notes down here, so I'm going to be looking at them. What whole foods do I actually enjoy? Whole foods meaning foods that are directly from the source: sweet potatoes, broccoli, chicken, steak, foods that don't have any other ingredients in them. They're whole foods from the earth. So forget what you think you should eat. Start with foods you genuinely like. Fruits, veggies, proteins, grains, and build from there. The second question, what can I add to my current diet instead of focusing on eliminating things? So often when people start on a health journey, they are so focused on, I can't have this, or this. And the list just continues to grow until you feel so overwhelmed to the point where it's like, well, what the hell can I even eat then? Like celery and cardboard? And that really was for me. I was just so focused on, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't. And I would just tell myself that over and over and over again when I first started my journey. And it was exhausting. It was so just stifling and just a way to really take the joy out of nourishing your body and nourishing yourself and eating nutritious and delicious meals and food. So it's not about restriction. It's about adding in things. Can I add a handful of spinach to my smoothie? Can I toss some more veggies into the pasta that I love to eat? Keep it simple and doable. So really explore. And I have on my blog, on my website, rootandsoulhealth.com, I'll leave it in the description so you can just click and go directly to this blog post, a few different grocery lists for different proteins, different veggies, different carbs, and different options for you to get an idea of some things to start running through your mind for this list. Do I even like these foods? And then the third question, how much water do you actually need? So here's a hint. It depends. The amount of water that you need is influenced by so many different things, like your activity level, the climate you're in. For example, I am in Denver. We are the Mile High City. And we need to drink so much water here for not only for health, but for our brains and our muscles and our bodies to function properly. Being higher up means that we're losing that hydration and that water more rapidly than being somewhere like sea level or with more humidity in the climate, and how much sweat you are losing too. So if you are going through a really intense workout, you're going to need more to replenish that. A good starting point is to aim for half your body weight in ounces of water, and then you will adjust as needed. The last question for this section is, what would eating healthier look like in my life? What would that look like? What does your plate look like? Can you see yourself cooking the meals? Visualize yourself eating these healthy meals. Do you need to start meal planning or writing down grocery lists? I know anytime I've gone to the grocery store and I don't have my list with me of everything that I need, I end up coming home with so much more crap than I actually needed. And also never go grocery shopping on an empty stomach. That is like my number one rule, because you will be thinking with your stomach instead of just the things that you came to get. And then it's also kind of like a little spending saving hack too. Would carrying a water bottle that you love. For my birthday last year, I got this awesome water bottle and I love carrying it with me everywhere. It fits in my cup holder. It's not a Stanley. I stickered it all up with all the wonderful, cute little stickers. And I just love it. It's just like my little emotional support water bottle, but it goes with me everywhere. Would that help you drink more water throughout the day? What is going to be a practical solution for you for that? And then what small changes can make a big impact? So learning to reframe the way that you think about your nutrition and your approach to getting your hydration in. Speaking of hydration, I actually need some water. So my throat's getting a little scratchy. And nutrition really isn't about being perfect. It's about learning what works for you, honoring your body's needs in the moment. So I've said this before, sometimes when we're really feeling sluggish, we haven't had enough water, we haven't had a vegetable. we haven't had nearly enough protein for the day to help sustain us and to get us to the next meal. So thinking about those things and prioritizing them whenever you do sit down, take it meal by meal. And there will be other days where you, for your mental sanity, for the period cramps that are coming along with it, maybe that chocolate chip cookie just is the thing that you need in the moment. So leaving room for foods that you enjoy and you love to eat. Also thinking about your schedule. So some weeks you're going to be on it. You're going to be cooking dinner every night. And then other weeks you're going to be rushing from meeting to activity to social event. And you're just eating something quick and on the go. That's life. And that's okay. The goal is to let go of the pressure. Let go of the pressure to follow those rigid rules. Reframe your thinking and just focus on nourishment. Mind, body, and spirit. Those are the things to focus. Mind, body, spirit. Is it nourishing for my mind? Is it nourishing for my body? Is it nourishing for my spirit? The chocolate chip cookie is nourishing for my spirit sometimes. Food is fuel, but it's also joy. It's connection. It's sitting down with your loved one, with your partner, with a group of your girlfriends, with a group of your guys, to connect over those things. And it's culture, enjoying your the foods of your culture, of your upbringing. Find what feels good for your body and never be afraid to let that evolve over time and as you need it. And then, so going back to hydration a little bit more in depth here, because it's just as crucial as what's on your plate. Proper hydration is one of the simplest and most effective ways to support your body and also your cognition. Yet it's something that so many of us struggle with. I know that while I love my emotional support water bottle, if it's sitting on my desk, I have no idea why, but I will not drink that whole thing throughout the day. I gravitate more towards this size because, and also a straw. I don't know why a straw helps me drink more water, but it does. This size, 25 ounces, I will finish it and I'm like, okay, I need to get up from my desk. So I'm moving. I'm not sitting at my desk the whole day or standing at my desk the whole day. And I need to go refill it. And it's just kind of like a mental break for me to step away from my desk, step away from my computer, give my eyes a break from a screen, give my mind a break from whatever I'm doing, usually editing videos for podcasting. Another thing that helps me and is a question to ask yourself is what's going to help make my hydration easier? Is it going to be keeping a water bottle nearby? Is it going to be flavoring your water? I always put a little bit of pink salt, Himalayan pink salt in here, and some lemon juice or some apple cider vinegar to help with digestion. And I don't know why, it just makes drinking the water taste so much better. And it also is helping me replenish the sodium and helping with aid my digestion with some of those things. So yeah, it's just, and not to mention, having a glass of water, a little, 8-ounce glass of water with some apple cider vinegar in it does wonders for your blood sugar before you have a meal. And just a little bit of water, not too much. You don't want to make yourself full off water, and that's a whole other thing. But could you put fruit in it or herbs in it, like mint or strawberries, blueberries? Think about if plain water feels boring to you, spice it up, add some things to it. And then adding this to your question list, are you waiting to drink until you're thirsty? Or are you consistently throughout the day taking small sips of water? So your body thrives when it's hydrated. Your skin glows, your energy levels stay stable, and even your digestion works better, as I mentioned. So don't sleep on this basic. Don't sleep on nutrition and hydration. So that is kind of like a little bit of our foundation. We're building up to building this pyramid. It seems simple, but it's so deeply personal too. And start small. ask yourself these questions, come back to the questions after you finish this episode. And remember, it's all about finding what works for you. So let's move on to another foundational piece, which you're probably not going to be shocked by, but it is physical activity. And yes, we know it matters. Working out matters. Some type of movement, moving your body. Body's in motion, stay in motion. We know it matters. But it's not in the way that you might think. So not in the societally structured, acceptable way does physical activity might look like how you think. So let's dive into that. Physical activity. We know we need it, but that's about where that generalization stops, because the how, what, and how often will look so different for every single individual person, and that's perfectly okay. Our physical needs, interests, abilities, they all evolve over time. So when you were 18 years old, sometimes peak performance for some people, you're not going to be doing the same type of things as you were doing at 18 as you are now at 30 years old. Probably. There are some people who have the best genetics and they're even stronger now. Muscle, actually, this is like a side little tangent, but aged muscle is a lot more mature, and muscle bellies are a lot thicker and can have a lot more output as we mature to a certain point. It's kind of like a bell curve, right? But especially in our late 20s and 30s for men and women, our muscle bellies, mature muscle, has a lot more capability than muscle we are just starting to build, such as when we maybe started lifting weights when we were 18 years old, or started working out in some form or fashion when we were younger and in our teens. Just a little fun fact. So if you are in your late 20s, 30s, mid 30s, even 40s, for some mature muscle, your muscle bellies have so much more capability than when we were younger. So experimenting with that, if that's something that you are looking for. But yes, as we age, our schedules change, our bodies adapt, and even our preferences and how we like to work out shift. So again, what worked for you in your early teens, early 20s might not even feel good anymore, or it might not even be possible today. And that is perfectly fine too. That's why it's so important to regularly reassess your approach to physical activity. And when you're thinking about that, it doesn't have to mean a grueling lifting weight gym session or trying the latest fitness craze like 75 hard or something. Like those things can be good for structure, but they don't necessarily pay you back in the long term. So it's about finding ways that feel good to move your body in, and also that align with where you are right now. When I was competing in my bodybuilding competitions, I was in the gym 6 days a week. I was going before work, after work, 2-a-days, doing long cardio sessions for an hour plus, and in the gym lifting weights in the evening for 2 hours plus. I lived, breathed, ate, and slept bodybuilding, and that was my whole entire life. My whole entire life was centered around that. At that point in time, that worked for me. The discipline, the dedication it took. I was definitely praised for all those things, but it was a very extreme way to live your life. And now, for where I'm at now, my goal is just to be lifting weights, because I genuinely do love to lift weights 3 or 4 times a week, and mixing in some reformer Pilates and yoga in there 1 to 2 times a week. I used to at one point think that, this is like legit thoughts that came out of my own brain, but I used to think that if I wasn't in the gym, sweating my ass off, so sore the next day, lifting weights, specifically lifting weights, the workout did not count. If I did yoga or Pilates or a class in the gym. Like that was just like extra. And it's so not true. It is so not true. And I am so sad for my former self that I ever thought that. So let's get into the questions now before I go off on even more of a tangent with that. If you are interested more in my story, though, I do have a reintroduction episode that just came out this season. Since I restarted the podcast, I wanted to do a quick reintroduction about myself and my life journey up until this point, as so many things have shifted since I put out my first intro episode way back in 2019. So, questions to ask yourself. Get out your pen and paper again if you set that aside. Is my current physical activity satisfying? So think about how often you're moving your body and the types of movement you are doing. Are they enjoyable or do they feel like a chore? If they do feel like a chore, then that leads us to the next question of what kind of physical activity do I actually enjoy? Maybe it's a group fitness class. Maybe it's solo walks. Maybe it's dancing in the living room or doing stretches in your living room floor. Think about moving your body in ways that are going to be sustainable, that are going to fit into your schedule. It may not necessarily fit into your schedule, but that you are going to be excited to carve out time in your schedule to move your body in this way. And then what would my ideal movement routine look like? And this is where we get really specific here. So we're visualizing again, closing our eyes, visualizing. Where are you moving your body? The exact place. Is it a gym? Is it in your living room? Is it outside? Is it a reformer Pilates class? A yoga class? Where are we moving our bodies? How many minutes and days a week do we want to move our bodies for? Where is a good place to start with that? So I used an example before. If, our goal is to work out 6 days a week and we aren't even working out 1 day a week yet, let's start by just doing 2 days a week and then adding on top of that so that we set ourselves up for success and not failure. And then what feels realistic and exciting? Remember that movement is about enhancing your life. It's not supposed to be draining. It should make you feel alive and not like you're checking off another chore on your to-do list. So keep those things in mind. As you are kind of thinking about that, there are two key areas that I previewed at the beginning of the episode that you might have been scratching your head like, what on earth do those two things have to do with my health? I have no idea how that plays a role. So let's dive into how your relationships and your social life affect your health. Yes, your significant other, your friends, even your coworkers can impact your overall well-being. And let's break it down how. So, thinking back to if you've ever been in a toxic relationship, and if you have, I am so sorry that you went through that. I myself have been in a few toxic relationships, and they are so soul-sucking. But thinking about that, or you've been in an unfulfilling relationship, your needs aren't being met. You've probably felt that mental, emotional, and even physical toll it takes on you and your body. The stress, the tension, the disconnection, the relationships, they don't just stay in your mind. They physically manifest in our bodies. But then on the flip side, think about when you've been in, or what a healthy, loving, fulfilling relationship is like and how it nourishes us. They're meeting our basic human needs like physical touch, affection, connection and respect. When you're in relationships that make you feel like you are supported and valued, your mental health and your physical health naturally improve. So, here are a few questions to ask yourself. How are the relationships in my life right now? Are they fulfilling or are they draining? Question number 2, are my basic needs being met? Think about respect, affection, and support and physical touch. And then question 3, if I don't have those relationships yet, what does my ideal partner or friend look like? How do they treat me? How do they make me feel? Definitely spend some time diving a little bit deeper into that, and get super, super clear on it. Listing out traits, listing out things. Nothing is off limits. You can be so specific as you want to be with this. And then that kind of segues into the social life piece of it. Whether you are an introvert, an extrovert, or somewhere in between, we all need a support system. Having people outside of your romantic relationships who get you and allow you to show up as your full, authentic self, it is so vital for our mental and emotional health. This past year, I have let go of friendships who did not feel like that. And it is a very sad thing to do. I mean, I feel like a friend breakup is almost, it's almost worse than a romantic breakup sometimes, especially if there is a lot of history and they have been in your life for so much longer sometimes than a partner has. But that doesn't necessarily mean time doesn't always equate to depth of a friendship or a relationship. But it's hard. They're hard to do. But sometimes they are so necessary so that you make space and room for people who are showing up for you, who love your authentic self, who light up when you walk into the room, who cheer you on, who root for you in front of your face and when you're not there, behind your back. Those people are out there and they exist. And I encourage you to evaluate your friendships, evaluate your relationships. Are you aligned on morals, on values? And if not, is that a deal breaker? Is that something that is a beautiful difference between you two that can be overcome? And so having a social life, we are just social creatures by nature. We need a support system. And there's research that shows women typically outlive men because of the community that we have, the community that we build, the depths of our relationships that we show our full selves, we show our ugly sides, we bring our full selves to the table, to the friendship, to our social groups, our social life. And it's a little bit harder for men to really let down that mental, emotional wall and barrier, generally speaking, not for every man, generally speaking. And they may have the community, but they don't necessarily have the depth. And the depth, the feeling seen, the taking off your layers and your masks and showing all of yourself, that is really what creates that connection. Vulnerability is what creates that bond, that connection, the longevity. And so really just, do you have a supportive group of people in your life who makes you feel safe and supported? That is our first question. And then if you don't have this yet, where might you meet like-minded people? If you like to go on hikes, can you join a hiking group? If you love to read fantasy novels, can you join a fantasy book club in your area? If you love knitting, can you join a knitting group? Or if you love to go country line dancing, can you join a dance group that meets every week? Just finding different places, thinking of different places where meeting like-minded people, opening yourself up to that. Where are those places? Where might you go to meet like-minded people? And then be open to the connection, be open to meeting new people, and also be open to some people not being for you. And that's okay too. Not everyone's for you, and you are not for everyone. And it is a good thing that we are not. So we find our true tribe and our true people. And then question number 3, what does an ideal support system look like for me? How can I take small steps to build it? Getting really clear with that. What am I going to do every week to seek out new friends, to evaluate if my friendships are actually supportive, if it's something that you have been questioning? Can I seek out a third party friend to help me with this? Can I go to a therapist to help me know if I am getting that support in my life? And then just a reminder, maybe a little asterisk to write down in underneath this section. When we're missing connection, we often turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Cravings can develop, addiction can develop, reaching for alcohol to numb out, watching adult videos in order to find that sense of deeper connection and physical touch that we are craving. Maybe we're touch starved. We're not being touched enough. So we create that with ourselves. And then getting into toxic relationships can happen if we are not finding those deeply supportive places and people, and we don't have that support system or system set up in our life. Reaching for the first thing that comes our way, or overlooking toxic behaviors and habits, or just the whole person in general, because we're so deeply craving that love and physical touch and support that we maybe don't have in our lives. So recognizing this need for connection can help you redirect your energy in healthier ways. Everything that we do is rooted in deeper meaning. So I know, for example, when I tend to reach for chocolate, that is my cue to myself that, hey, what's going on with the chocolate? Why are you reaching for the chocolate? And in asking myself that, and asking myself this sudden habit of like, oh man, like I really have been eating a bunch of chocolate these last few weeks. Like, what's going on with that? I realized that I am doing it because I'm lonely, because I maybe haven't seen my friends in a while, or my partner's been out on a business trip for a week or so, or I haven't been as social as I have wanted to be out in the mix, to be experiencing those deeper connections. And so just really evaluating some of the habits and behaviors that you have, and question them. Dig deeper. Ask yourself, why? Why? And keep digging. Why am I doing this? Because of this. Keep peeling back those layers. And underneath all of those layers, underneath the deep self-reflecting and doing this work, is the way to truly live the most fulfilling and healthy life you could possibly imagine. So, wrapping up the episode, today we laid the foundation by exploring what we put into our bodies, how we move them, and the relationships that can nourish or drain us. Take some time this week to reflect on the questions I shared. There's a lot of them. Do the deep digging, uncovering the layers, and maybe even start making some small shifts in these areas of life. And that can also make it a little bit more manageable when you only focus on a few areas to come into focus instead of trying to overhaul all 13 of these points as we dive into this complete series. So in part 2, which I will be releasing 1 week from today's episode, for a series, I didn't want to make you guys wait 2 weeks because typically the scheduling has been pre-holidays. It's a bi-weekly release, but for this series, the next episode will release the very next week. So you will not have to wait too long, yet you will have enough time to do the work, to journal, and to answer these questions for yourself. But in part 2, we'll move into some of the unexpected areas of holistic health, like how your home environment, your career, and even your sleep habits impact your well-being. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for the whole journey because the next 2 episodes are going to take us even deeper. If you're mind blown by relationships and social life and how they affect your health and well-being, the rest of the series is going to blow your mind even more. So please stick around. And as I am about to hop on a plane to go and visit my family for the holidays, I hope all of you have. I'm hoping to release this after the Christmas holiday for myself, but I hope all of you have a wonderful holiday season and ring in the new year with so much love and gratitude for yourself and your life and all of the people who have shown up for you. Until the next one, I'm Kamala Celeste, signing off.